business and investment, we have to be ready for such cooperation, because we talk about, as I said, a limitless horizon of benefits, not only for Germany, but even starting from Germany, we have also China, we have France, we have India,
Russia.
we have Russia. So we have a lot of open doors. We have to be up to such challenges, which is not easy, by the way, because we talk about very different and equivalent capacities, capabilities, administration, influence, efficiency, structure of culture, production culture, ethics of production, a lot of fields. We have to upgrade our levels in this. That's why I said it's really a challenge, and the government, on top of all other partners of the story, the government is committed to expedite the tempo of administration reforms. This is imperative today. We need to we need to do this very quickly. Yes, there are moves, very positive moves by the administrative attorney and Naval Idareya to fight corruption. But this is not the only trajectory that we have to follow.
No, this is a part of the story. We should fight bureaucracy. We should have the amendments of the investment law.
Exactly.
We do have a lot. I mean, our homework, sir. And this was going to be my coming question regarding this. Because, for example, just also 2 weeks ago, there was a very important another visit by a Russian high-ranking business delegation who met with Tarek Qabil, our Minister of Industry and Trade, and also Dr. Ahmed Darwish, the one responsible for the economic zone of the new Suez Canal access. So it's a competition. Who will win the best place there to have their industrial zones? A very important issue, I think, which was tackled during this visit of Chancellor Merkel with high-ranking officials, not only with the president, by the way, and with Dr. Sahar Nasr, with many, with the German-Egyptian Business Council. So business was always there. And this Egyptian-German Friendship Association were also exploring the environment. So our homework, what are we doing to do our homework well, to pave the way for those investments to come?
We are waiting for the revised investment law, and I mean revised for the second or maybe third time, because it has been put for...
May I ask whose fault is this?
Well, it's not the fault of a person, but it's rather the fault of a system, especially when you have a change of ministers on the seat here. So at least I'm sure that the new minister would like to revise and see whether there is something missing. Because for me, when you change ministers in a post which were about to offer or at least submit to the parliament a revised investment law, it means that there was something wrong in that ministry and in the management of that ministry. So that's why we expect that it will take another revision so that at least...
So in your opinion, when this is going to end? When this mission is going to be fulfilled?
Again, it's not about the law only, because who actually implement and execute the law are the human beings inside the ministry and inside the investment authority. So we have to change the mindset, which I don't think is abide by any law. We can change the laws, but at the end of the day,
what do we need, sir? Is it to end the bureaucracy? Is it to think out of the box? Is it to be modernized enough to see how the world is going on and to keep the rhythm? What? Or all these things together?
We may call them in Arabic the shaky hands.
Okay.
You know, those who would like to actually avoid taking the risk of going outside the box. Because you have to look, when you talk investment, we're not talking about local investment. We're talking about foreign direct investment. And so foreign direct investments has other options to go, especially when you talk about the UAE, United Arab Emirates, and other countries. So we have to compare ourselves in terms of the speed of legislations and registrations and giving authorities and certificates. We have to talk about the tax havens that they have to exist and which areas. We have to talk about the infrastructure. So it is not about the law as it is for me personally. I think it's about those who are going to execute the law. And if we don't change the mindset of those people, I'm not talking about those who are around the office of the ministers, because most of them are already alert of what is going around them in other countries. But I'm talking about those who go deep down on the ladder of the management of this authority and ministers. And so at least they have to be aware that shaky hands is not now the time, because we are racing against time. Why? Because if I don't put my money here, I put it somewhere else. It's a golden opportunity that we floated our currency. It's a golden opportunity that now our price is cheaper for any kind of exports. So that's why you can see a lot of improvement in the balance of trade. But that has to be also open for other investments to come, so that we can use Egypt as a center of exportation. But this is after floating the pound, sir. Yeah, but that's very recent. Floating pound was only in November. And so December or January, Feb, these are 3 months where we have, well, we are going to change the minister. No, the minister is going to be there. So we waited until the last minute to know that they change the persons on the seat of this minister. So we have to give another maybe month or so, we can get the revised.
But this is a question to both of you, because I think that what Angela Merkel did here, and to be keen to visit the Pope, to be keen to visit the Grand Imam of Al-Azhar, to be keen to have talks with President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi in many issues like illegal migration, for example, like the trade ties, like inaugurating the electricity stations, as if she was discovering the situation on the ground in Egypt to evaluate the issue, or this was only to as she is under pressure because of the election she is going to go through in September.
Well, I think it's a message to tell us that the Germans are serious about extending hand to assist Egypt. A positive message indeed that President Sisi himself has fought long to get back Germany, because we know Germany was in front of the countries that rejected the changes in Egypt after 30 June revolution. Yes, so now when we talk about this very recent moves coming from Germany, yes, this is very positive, and this is a message that we are on the right track. Coming here and visiting this spots, very particular spots you mentioned, is yes, I think very elaborated plan from her to make sure that Egypt is stable enough, because you're going to the Christian community.
Dr. Hegazy has a different idea, and we do have only 1 minute.
Yeah, sure. I think it was a negotiating tool, because what was not mentioned in the media, that Chancellor Merkel have met in the embassy with civil activists. And these civil activists, we know that they are against any kind of developments that are taking currently place. So it's a negotiation because they want to gain something in the NGO law. The visits with the Pope and Sheikh Al-Azhar were actually met with a sort of no problems. We are all one hand in the country, so we are in synergy together between Muslims and Christians. And so, number one, I think it's a negotiation. Number two, it is also to try to give a feedback to the Bundestag, especially that, as you mentioned, they are about for the re-election, especially with what Merkel is facing back home in terms of the immigration laws and the refugees. So this is a file which at least she is not doing well on it. So that's why the other file is about the relationship with the Middle Eastern countries.
Dr. Ibrahim Hegazy, member of the Parliament and our political analyst, thank you very much for being with us, sir. Dr. Ibrahim Hegazy, our strategic expert. Dr. Ibrahim Ghazawy, I'm sorry. I said I had to Ibrahim.
It's very confusing. I don't believe you.
Thank you very much for being with us. I enjoyed my time, and I hope that I'm going to see you again in a new episode of Windows and in front of Nile TV International screen. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your interest. Thank you.
Well, by this we come to the end of this very special episode of Windows. On behalf of Dina Hussein, Ashraf Makram, Numeri Shuman, and myself, Nermeen Abdurrahman, many thanks for watching. Have a very good night.